Thank you.
Welcome to Life is Good. And if you heard that wonderful song, it's the anthem of Vermont. And it says it all. And if you have a candidate running for any political office, they should know the lyrics and live by them.
And I have to say that was a beautiful song to choose, Heather. Thank you. And it really spoke to me. It says, home is where the heart is. And it actually says the heart are the Green Mountains. And I'm not born here, but I've chosen to make my home here in Newport. I've been here going on 10 years. And I'm extremely involved with the Green Mountain Club, which is the hiking club in the state of Vermont. And we have a very active section here in the Northeast Kingdom. And I'm the membership coordinator and the newsletter editor. So when I heard that about home is where the heart is, and they equated the heart with the Green Mountains,
Definitely.
I thought that was really a perfect way to start.
It's one of my favorite songs in
you.
the world. No matter where I've lived in the world, Green Mountains call me back.
Yeah.
So here I am, and here you are.
And
This
here
is
I
Beth
am.
Barnes, and guess what she's running for, folks? She is running for mayor of Newport. I bet you knew that. So what?
I hope so.
Oh, you were going to say this wonderful quote.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's actually not original. I did hear it on NPR. Politician in Washington said it, but when I heard it, it so resonated with me, and I wanted to share it with you. And it's kind of my driver for my campaign, and it goes like this: I run to win. I win to serve, and I serve to lift the community up. And I just feel that those few words say it all.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to lift up in our community?
Well, I did want to say that, first of all, I'm not a miracle worker. I don't think the mayor is elected to be a miracle worker, and I don't have a magic wand. Yeah. So, so don't expect miracles, but expect me to lift the community up where it needs to be lifted. We've done so many right things in Newport, but there's always room for improvement. And if there isn't room for improvement, then we're doing something wrong.
I had some people send in some questions before the show because I said, can anyone come to my house in an hour? Because we moved the show forward. So they sent questions instead. And the first one I got was...
This is really unfair, by the way, to just like spring these questions on me.
Well, get used to it. You're a politician now. You can lie. You're a politician now. Just say, oh, I knew that. Beth won't do that. I met Beth, believe it or not, this is how I'll tell you about Beth. We were each up to our knees in dirt at the community garden. Were we swearing at our crops? I don't know.
You may have been, but I wasn't.
I wasn't. No, I'm a pure girl. But I had some really strange experiences over there. I'm petrified of snakes.
Yeah.
So, petrified. And so I was always afraid I'd see a snake, but when I saw you, I would calm down right away.
Oh.
And we talked for a little bit, and you're always on the go. You had 3 minutes to talk because you were doing something. I thought, well, I wonder what she's doing to keep her life so busy as I continue to dig and scream.
Yeah, that was really nice to meet at the community garden. And that community garden is a testament to one of the things that we've done so right. I mean, Bluffside Farm is a testament to one of the most amazing things that Newport has been able to achieve. I use it a lot for all sports, all seasons, and gardening, of course.
Oh, gardening. Well, I'm not gardening there next year because of my snake problem, but I'm in therapy for that. I should be. Anyway, you are community oriented, and one of the people asked me, what are you going to do about the infrastructure as per the underlying pipes of the city, which occasionally spew hundreds of thousands of gallons of raw sewage into the bay close to where the Northern Star is parked.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Actually, pipes in the city infrastructure have been a recurring theme. I've been trying to talk to local businesses just to let them know I'm running. And actually, I ask them 2 questions. I say, what is going right for you as a business in Newport? And what could be going better for you in Newport? And one of the answers was there was a problem with pipes.
Well, if we lose our lake, we lose everything here.
Yes. Well, I won't get into the health of the lake right now.
I won't get into the lake right
now.
But
we will.
It's cold.
But I will definitely touch on that because that is something that's very near and dear to me, the health of the lake. Yeah, that's a problem with sewage spewing into the lake. I know that it happened in the last couple of years.
Twice.
Yeah.
Once was denied by the city council and by the mayor.
Right. So denial is definitely not an option.
Thank you.
Denial's not an option. That never works in politics or personal life. I think taking responsibility is the only option. I won't know how to fix it, but hopefully I'll have at my disposal the city services that can fix it. And you know what? I'm that kind of person that is going to want to be out there watching, because I think with every experience you have, you learn something new. I want to know why the sewage went into the lake. Why did it break?
Apparently there's a smaller holding tank than is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
My father's business was electrical submersible pumps and sewage treatment from the 50s forward.
Oh, wow.
He was one of the first in the universe to do
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Swedish company, and that's all we heard growing up. And I grew up on the Canadian side of the lake,
Mm-hmm.
so it was always in his vocabulary to make the lake healthier, and he worked very hard at that. And when you talk about pipes under the city, you talk budget.
Right.
Now, how much do we have to, I see potholes being filled. In Montreal, we just let a Volkswagen go into the pothole.
Mm-hmm.
It's filled for another year.
Yeah.
But here, I've seen them doing a lot of work that I think is not as important as.
Other things, yeah. I don't have any answers for that because I haven't been elected yet. But one of my strong desires is to really be hands-on in every department. Whether or not they're going to appreciate that, I don't know.
Well, you work very well with the council. That's the thing I like about you.
Yeah, I want to really understand what makes our town tick. And not just the really good stuff, not just Wednesdays on the waterfront, things like that. I really want to get my hands dirty and find out what the infrastructure looks like. And
well, as soon as you get the budget, then you'll be able to see what it is. But
yeah.
the federal funding we can get from that, we got millions and millions of dollars of federal funding a couple of years ago or last year, and I didn't see 1 cent of it spent on that. So if you have any power, you can direct that, right, with the city council's
yes,
approval?
Of course. I believe I can, yes. I have not been to mayor school, full disclosure.
Who does? This is Newport.
So that is the one thing that I see as a detriment to me as a candidate, is that I don't understand the procedural
You don't have to worry
way
about
to
that.
do things.
You don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here are some of the people who are on the ballot coming up. Kevin Charbonneau.
Well, Kevin's not on the ballot.
Oh, he's not on the ballot.
I'm so sorry, I may have misled you. Kevin is on the council.
He's on the council.
I believe Chris Vachon is up for re-election.
Okay.
John Wilson is on the council. Melissa will be leaving.
Who's
and
Melissa? And Melissa's from
Pedersen.
Derby.
No, she's from Newport.
Newport.
But she won't be running again. But we have some really awesome, strong candidates that
Carter
are running.
Carter Finnegan, you've mentioned.
Carter Finnegan, yeah, young lady who lives here in Newport, who will definitely have my support as city council member.
Well, that's what I like about you. You look at these names and you say, Heather, they're good. I can work with them.
Yeah.
And if you have a positive attitude when you go into an office, that's getting things done for us. So I'm very happy about that.
I think that's the duty of the position, though, is to work together. I mean, what has anyone ever achieved by working like this or working like this? I mean, we really have to work together. Our personalities might not all be the same, and who would want them to be the same? I mean, what a boring old world it would be. But when I'm elected mayor,
That's right.
I would really like to make sure that we all coalesce and work together for the greater good. And what's the greater good? The community. Yeah.
Well, I've met several people since I've lived here whose favorite word is community. And it seems like some people start something and another team competes with them rather than getting in there and working as a team. Mm-hmm. There's a competition instead of, wow, that's a great idea. Let's get together and do that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that will be very important for you to do is to embrace everybody and bring them together. So get a coalition of people who want the best for the city and work together, not compete against each other in an egocentric way.
And I think everybody that knows me knows that that's my style.
Well, that's why you're here in my house.
Yeah.
Because I can talk to this woman who is very dirty in the garden and enjoying herself and growing great big things. I'm like, what is that, Heather? It's a beet. Oh, I thought it was a radish. Well, it's like the steroid treatment. It's not very healthy.
So funny.
But
Can I share a really great story before I forget? I wanted to share a really great story that happened to me today. I got my hair cut because I was going to be here with Heather tonight, and it was a big deal for me. So
big deal for all of us.
I went to a salon, a new one, and a young lady cut my hair, and for some reason I was just really compelled to ask her, did you go through the program at North Country Career Center to learn your trade? And she answered yes. I mean, what was the chance, that she did? And I was just picking her brain the whole time. I said, that is so wonderful that we have these opportunities like North Country Career Center, CCV. And she was telling me that she went to Lake Region High School, but she was fortunate enough to come to the Career Center and take this course. And she graduated from high school, and she started her trade. She's 30 years old now, and she's been doing her trade since she graduated from high school. And she owns her own home.
What's her name? Give her a plug.
I told her I wouldn't use her name.
Okay.
I told her I would just use her story because it really resonated with me, because I have substituted a lot over at the Career Center, and I have so much respect for what they're doing over there and how focused the students are. And these kids know what they want to do.
They were on my show last week.
Were they really?
Yeah, a lot of them. And the Career Center directors have been on my show, and so brilliant.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing. And that old song, how are you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Montreal? Well, the thing is, what can keep them here is getting them educated on things that work around here. Sugaring, anything agrarian, environmental, ecological, careers, the diesel mechanic, the cars, everything they've got going over there, and they're wonderful teachers.
Yeah, they are.
So if you get them educated, then they can open their own businesses here, and we can support them. And no, we'll never be the richest part of the union, richest part of the state. We will be independent, and that's what that educational facility will do.
I mean, I really applaud what this young lady did, but also I'm a firm believer of leaving where you were, because I did it to the maybe to a degree that was too much, leaving home and seeing the world.
Of course.
But what we need to do here is we need to find ways to welcome and entice these kids back home again. And one of the ways to do that is, what are our economic drivers for these kids? They can't come back and work at McDonald's or Wendy's. That's not a living wage. That's not going to help them get a house and raise a family. We need to really bring the right people to the table to create more jobs, to nurture the ones we have and create new ones.
And something I read that you were interested in doing is filling the hole on Main Street. How would that be for? We don't get the biotechnical firm that was supposed to come in, but what would you put there that would?
I have a dream of what
I would
put there.
I would put a five-story condo, high-ended, for people who come only in the summer but pay their taxes all year long. And down below, businesses.
Yeah, I'd put multi-use too. Multi-use with a twist, though.
Oh.
With the shops on the bottom.
Yeah.
I can still remember the day the wrecking ball took its first swing at that block of shops. It was just like, and of course I was so full of hope because people were coming to save the day, and
so
I was so excited.
We can still do that again.
Yes, of course we can.
So what would you like to bring in?
Well, multi-use, and of course this is a pipe dream, but
everything is.
But pipe dreams are meant to be fulfilled, right?
Martin Luther King wasn't the only one who had a dream.
I think we all have to have dreams. That's what keeps us moving forward. But I think what I would love to see, how it's going to happen, I don't know. But I'd like to see multi-use with stores on the bottom.
Yeah.
Stores and services on the bottom. I'd like to see condos on the top. Own your own condos.
Oh!
But I'd also like to see, senior housing too. We have such a deficit of senior housing, and unfortunately right now our seniors are being forced out of the area, and this is a time when families need to come together and not be torn apart. And with the closure of the Newport Health Center recently on Prouty Drive, it really broke my heart because my mother just passed away at 97, and she had been living in a care facility. And it's hard for the residents that have to live there. And it's equally hard for the families who have to house their elderly
I'm
parents.
sorry about your mom.
Yeah, thanks. She's in a better place, but she's a lot of my inspiration for running for mayor too. I got my car after I got my signatures approved, and I said, "Mom, I'm running for mayor."
I talk to my mom every night. She
Yeah.
died when I was 17.
Yeah.
53, 55 years
Yeah.
old. But I still believe in that inspiration from your mother.
Mm-hmm.
How about your dad?
Always. He's been gone a long time.
Really?
Mom was way more inspirational. Yeah. He was a little hard, a disciplinarian. Yeah. But I am who I am because of my parents, for good or for bad.
I think we choose our parents before we're born for whatever lessons we can learn from them in this lifetime. And so I'm always grateful for my parents.
I agree.
And what I have found, people who are stuck and very unhappy from the time they're born till the time they die, they're unhappy because they never forgive their parents for the mistake the parents have made. And we've all made them. We do the best we can. And I find the healthiest people at my age, the happiest people, are the ones who say, "Oh, look what I went through, but my gosh, they meant well."
Yeah.
And ha ha ha. And I learned so much from my parents.
My parents taught me so many things. My mom in particular taught me about giving back to your community. She was a mother of 6 kids, and she raised us, stayed home and raised us. But she was so active in the community. My parents taught me the value of money and saving money.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful for that. My parents taught me how to balance my checkbook.
Oh, yes.
Which I still do. I'm a dinosaur. But they taught me the fabric of everything that's important, so that I could build a foundation and be where I am today. Not to say I didn't have, difficulties as a child with my parents. I mean, who doesn't? But the really important things about me and strong are the things that I learned from my parents.
So what you're going to get in this mayor is consistency based on what she has practiced all her life.
Yeah.
Your integrity is pretty high.
I am so grateful. Yeah, I think life is about integrity. It's definitely about humility. That's a big one for me. It's about listening. I want to be a listening mayor. And does that sound really stupid?
Not at all.
Yeah. I want to be a listening mayor, and I want to be a caring mayor. And I want people to feel like they can come into the council chambers, and if they have something that's wrong or even right, I want them to be able to stand there in front of the council table in front of all of us and feel like they're really welcome and they're really worthy to be there talking to us.
And you won't have a stopwatch saying you have 2 minutes to speak. I'm timing you.
I'd like to know if that's something, a city ordinance that we have to abide by, because I'd at least like to change that to 3 minutes. But I think it's already really difficult to enter those chambers if you're not used to it and stand in front of what can feel like a really intimidating lineup of people.
How would you change the mood from intimidating into something more receptive?
Smile and welcome people. Get there early and thank them as they come through the door for coming to the city council meeting, because that's a choice. They come there as a choice. The city employees have to be there. But those people in the audience, they're there because they care about their community. And I'd really like to see a lot more people in those council chambers at the meetings, because the town is not us sitting at that table. The town are the people that are coming and sitting in the audience, and we're serving them. And I know a lot of people watch online. Well, at least I think a lot of people watch online.
NEK-TV?
Yeah, thank you, NEK-TV and Pam, for being so vigilant about always being there to take those meetings. It's a great civic service that NEK-TV provides. So I just, at the risk of sounding airy-fairy, I want people to be happy when they walk in that council chamber. Some of the topics that we talk about probably won't be and aren't happy, but they're necessary. Necessary in order to move forward, and move forward with purpose. Not just move forward for the sake of moving forward, because that's what we're supposed to do, but let's move forward and let's make progress. Let's find a way to alleviate some of the transportation problems.
Yes, you were talking about public transportation.
I'm not going to be able to solve that, but there have to be some some ideas. I just had a meeting with somebody and she had a great idea, you know, and I think they're trying it in Chittenden County where you take the school bus, not for the small children, but maybe for the slightly older children. The buses are doing runs all over the NEK. I mean, they travel many miles in the morning and the afternoon. Maybe there's some way that we can marry the school bus with public transportation, or kids that need to get to NEK Learning Services, or seniors that need to get to the senior meal and don't have any other means of transportation. Maybe they'll know that this school bus from the junior high or the high school is coming by and they're going to save a few seats on that bus to take community members into town, because that's where the high school is, right? Maybe there's a way. I've heard people say, that'll never work. How do we know it'll never work? Unless we revisit it, if it has even ever been visited before, or unless we get the right people at the table and say, hey, this is a really logical idea. Is there any way we can make this work? You know, work with the school board, work with the school superintendent, work with whom. I don't even know who you'd have to work with, but it would be my job as mayor to find out who the right people are to bring to the table, and then let's start that conversation. I just feel there's so many people that need to be served, that we need to find a way to serve. We need childcare. I mean, that everybody needs childcare.
What do you plan to do about that? You get federal funding for that, state funding for that, but not enough.
We need to find a way to make it more attractive for people to become caregivers. I don't know enough about it, but I think there are many, many, many hoops that you have to jump through, and rightly so, because these are our kids that are being cared for. But why don't we use the conference room in the state building and get lots of caregivers together, and let's get people from Building Bright Futures and Let's Grow Kids and the sorry, it's escaping my mind right now, other child care services. And let's all get together in a room and talk about it. I know it's been done before. But let's do it again. Let's keep doing it until we find a solution. Also, I'm a full-time sub at North Country in the supervisory union, primarily at Newport City Elementary and occasionally at the high school. And there's this recurring battle cry of, wow, I really need childcare. I don't have enough sick days left, but my child is sick. And what am I going to do? Because I'm needed in the classroom. We know how desperately the teachers are needed in the classroom. So there's this real disconnect of these teachers who want to be there. Is there any way that we can provide on-site childcare for teachers? I know this is way out there, audience.
It's so common sense, really.
But doesn't it make sense?
In Europe, you've lived there. Childcare, bring your child to work.
Right.
And there is and in New York, a lot of companies have them set up within their structure.
And what a great thing for the employee to work even harder and smarter, knowing
child is
that your own
downstairs.
kid is right there on the premise. Maybe at the hospital too. I'm guessing they may have trouble finding and maintaining employees because childcare is really hard to find. Bring your kid to work to the hospital and
have a separate place so they don't catch diseases.
Yeah. I mean, things are not insurmountable. Problems can be solved. And I know I can't solve all problems, but there are going to be a few things that would really be special to me. Most of those revolve around kids and the senior population.
Yeah, and I'm a senior, very, very, very senior. You can cut me in half and count.
You're even more senior than me.
Well, of course, I'm more senior than most of the people who are watching. But I don't say I like getting old, but I do like hearing what you're saying, because you never know.
You never know.
You never know when you'll need it. And even if you have your own home now, it only takes one forest fire, God forbid, or something drastic to happen in your life, a bad diagnosis, or a bad fall, or a stroke, or anything like that that could actually put you on a ventilator somewhere needing care.
But I wanted to touch on my concerns for a healthy lake. Is that okay if we go? If we kind of go that direction?
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Because the lake is it's a jewel. it is truly a jewel. We are so lucky to live on this lake, 1/4 in the United States and 3/4 in Canada. I still get so excited to think that I am living on an international lake. It's a gift. It's a gift, and it's been a gift since our Abenaki friends and ancestors lived here. So it's our duty to care for it. And I don't feel that we are caring for it at the moment. I don't think that we have been caring for it for many moments, simply because we didn't know. Ignorance, I don't want to say ignorance is an excuse, but we did not know
Laziness.
about a lot of the things that are just coming to light now with forever chemicals. And I have always known that what you throw on the street makes its way into the closest watershed. For us, Lake Memphremagog is the closest watershed, and it's a little more serious than what we throw on the street, a cigarette, but for us, it's the landfill that is just perched dangerously close to our precious watershed. It should not have been located there in the first place. I wasn't here when that happened.
Did you know that every state brings their stuff here? I mean,
Well,
lots and lots of states, not
yeah.
just...
I do know, actually. I know a lot about the landfill, and I wish I didn't. I know that the good people of the NEK only contribute 7% of the trash that goes into that landfill. So 3 cheers for the NEK. We can still do better. So we contribute 7% into this landfill that we have to live in the shadow of, that we have to smell when the wind blows the wrong direction. And we were successful in stopping the treatment of the leachate from the landfill coming to our local wastewater treatment facility, and that was thanks to DUMP. Don't undermine Memphremagog's purity.
Yep.
And that was a huge victory for a small grassroots movement.
Darn right.
Yeah. And it was really important because we can't afford to have those chemicals going into the lake, because those chemicals don't dissipate. They just become more and more toxic. They don't go away.
And the people in Magog, at the very end of the lake, 32 miles that way, I grew up on the Canadian side, they get their drinking water from this lake, and it takes 2 years for a particula of one polluted part to get down into their drinking.
But what I do know is that we are neighbors, and I would love, as mayor, to really reach across that lake. I would love to start a sister city program with Magog. We are sister cities.
I'll be your translator.
Thank you. We are sister cities. What greater thing to do than reach across the lake and say, we are neighbors, let's be really good friends. 175,000 people in Magog and the little townships along the lake depend on our lake for their drinking water. It's a very symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, and their politician up there is so good. Have you ever heard him speak?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh,
times.
He's so good, and I don't know how he doesn't convince the people here to get rid of the dump or something like that. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whenever it started, I had another TV show in another market, and I had Matthew Farfan from the Memphremagog Conservation Group. And
MCI, yeah.
Yeah, and I grew up with him, and a man from Casella to come onto that show to debate before they built the first one. And the fellow from Casella, very smooth, but Matthew is smooth too. And the fellow from Casella said, "But we have a 30-year. Our liner lasts 30 years," and that. I told him, in the vast expanse of time, that is a nanosecond, if that. Yes. That's 30 years of promise because nobody looks that far ahead. What's the matter with you?
And I have big questions, too, about... I'll come straight out and say that I would like to work with others to see that landfill closed.
Oh, thank you.
I think that we are being forced to live in a sacrifice zone here. We are out of sight, out of mind. In the NEK, we have a prison, we have a hole in the middle of Main Street. We have to live in the shadow of a landfill, and people will say to me, "But the landfill's in Coventry." That doesn't matter.
They sold their soul to the devil.
Yeah.
They were offered tax breaks, and they couldn't resist at that time. But they regret it.
Yeah, my biggest concern, and people will say it's scaremongering, but my biggest concern, and all you have to do is look through the history books and even recent history books, what if we get another dangerous weather event like Superstorm Sandy or like the rains out in California?
How about 1998 when Montgomery Center, East Berkshire, and Montgomery were totally wiped out? The FEMA people had to live at my house because there was nowhere else to live.
And what happens when that magnitude of rain comes onto a mountain? Okay, on a normal mountain, you would have roots and you would have trees that might deter the hillside from collapsing. But what happens when you have a man-made hillside that is naturally sloped, is unnaturally sloped because it's man-made? And what is a huge catastrophic rain event going to do when it falls onto that large mountain? Where is it going to go?
It's going to be like the tip in Wales. Remember that?
Yeah. It's going to go into the wildlife management section there, right on the Black River. And then where does the Black River go?
Right into our watershed.
South Bay, and then into our watershed, and into the lake, and to our friends, and then everything dies. That lake is it's beautiful and it's pristine and people love to recreate in it, but it's our economic driver.
Yeah.
It is our economic driver in Newport. It is what people come here to see. They don't come here to see the prison or the hole in the middle of downtown. They come to see our beautiful Lake Memphremagog, and to meet nice people.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes. So I just think that it is necessary that we all focus on the health of this lake.
And how will you do that as mayor?
Continue working with the people at Dump.
Yep.
Get other people around the table. Maybe invite the ANR up. Maybe Julie Moore would like to
come. What's ANR?
The
American Natural Resources.
No, it's the Agency of Natural Resources.
Oh.
Get people from outside the NEK to come up. And they do tours at the landfill, but we need these people from the state to come up here and talk to the real people. Talk to the real people who have, who are not politicians, who do not work in City Hall. So I just think it means continuing conversations with the state, and not just conversations, but serious conversations with the right people. And we are not going to take it anymore.
Thank you.
NEK.
And like you say, one bad weather event and we will lose our lake.
And it's not just the dump. There are other issues that we are not going to take simply because we are in the NEK, far from anywhere, and people don't have to see us, so it's really easy to locate it, whatever it may be in the NEK. No, we need state services, we need funding, we need recognition.
We can't let J-Peak in the middle of us stop us from seeing the rest of the state.
And what's really interesting is that House Bill 48, I believe it is, was just sponsored by Catherine Sims and Woody Page. And I don't know the specifics of it, but I know that it has to do with looking at the siting of landfills around the state. Because my solution would be localize the waste management so that not one region, ours specifically, has to accept trash from every region of Vermont, including 20% from out of state.
Yep.
Why us, Heather? Why?
Because we were sold a bill of goods. They made property taxes a non-issue in Coventry, so they sold their soul to the devil. It was very tempting. I mean, I have been poor. When I was raising my kids, I had 4 jobs and I lived at home, and I never felt poor, but I was. I only heated one room. When the kids started college, I just could heat my kitchen, moved all my businesses into the kitchen, and just kept moving things around depending on what I was doing. And I never felt poor because I'm in Vermont. It's like everybody helps everybody. But if somebody had come into me and said, "Hey, you don't have to pay those property taxes this year," it would have been so tempting to say, "I just want to do 3 jobs, not 4." Yeah. But nobody offered me that, and I'm awfully glad now. But I can understand why the people of Coventry at that time said, "No property taxes, and it's going to last 30 years? What could go wrong?"
And I think one thing that people also don't realize, of course, we look at the ever-growing mountain of trash, but there's so many byproducts of it too. Like I believe it's 90 trucks a day that come to the landfill traveling an average of 200 miles.
And the roads are suffering from that.
Yes, the roads, but also the emissions. I mean, here we are trying to lower our emissions in the state, and we have 90 trucks a day traveling average 200 miles.
One way.
What is that doing? What is that doing to the quality of our air? Not just here, but in the state, and the quality of our roads.
I hope we can stop it.
Yeah.
I hope we can stop it. I think
It's not going to happen overnight, but I do believe that we can move forward through dialogue and through persistence, because that's what happens is complacency sets in, and it's really easy for complacency to set in an area like this.
You'll be a very strong mayor.
Yeah. We need to hold everybody to task, including myself when I'm mayor. I expect to be held to task. And I certainly don't expect to have all the answers. I'm not a miracle worker.
Well, you said humility was a very big part of your life. And I've heard that throughout this interview, that Beth has said, I'm not a miracle worker. I'm not sure about that now. When I hear a politician say, I don't know, I'm not sure, I haven't done this yet, that's an honest person. And that's all we can hope for in this day and age. So many politicians get in there. I'm not saying our politicians, but generally now are not known for their integrity, not known for their honesty, not known for their compassion. They're out for number one. And I never want to see that here. And as long as our present mayor is retiring, bless his heart, and you want to take over, I mean, it's a really good thing to have people interested from the community who have that integrity. Now, what were you going to say? You were going to say that you have other things to discuss, and I don't know what they are.
Well, I'm just wondering how long we have, actually.
Well, I'm working on a
because,
painting,
well,
so I don't have to be out of here right away.
I probably have said enough. One thing that I'm finding is everybody has their issues. I have my issues, personal and otherwise, and I'm finding that everybody is sharing their issues with me, and I so appreciate it. They make so much sense, and so many of them are things that I wouldn't have thought about unless these people came forward and shared it with me. It's a lot to take in. I sleep really well at night, but I just want to say that I want to hear what people's issues are.
I had one more question from somebody. She said, what are we going to do about high taxation in Newport?
I don't know. No, that is the number one question. After sewers,
yeah,
that's the next biggest question. I won't know until I am privy to information. I am just a community member now. I'm not able to see what happens behind the scenes with the taxation.
You don't have the codes.
I don't know yet. I won't know until people sit down and tell me why taxes are high. My taxes are high.
And we don't really see anything for them.
Yeah, I do have to put in a plug for the flowers.
Oh, yes!
Hasn't he done an awesome job with
I think we've got the prettiest.
Yeah.
When I go through Newport in the summer, spring, summer, fall, and I see them out there working, and I'm thinking,
complete applause for that. But
and
I digress.
I digress. We've got so many good things here. Yeah. And we've got the Northern Star.
Yes, the Northern Star.
I'll put in a plug for the Northern Star.
There are so many things. The taxes, I don't have an answer for that question yet, and
but
I don't think I will.
Thought of big time here.
Oh my goodness, I pay them too. Yes, I pay them willingly, but it hurts. Yeah. So whoever asked that question, I feel that question, and I also would like to know the answer for it. And when I know the answer, I'll share it.
Okay, you can come back anytime.
Yeah.
I can get a camera once a week and bring it to my home.
That's great. Thank you, NEK-TV. That's so sweet. Yeah.
They are.
That's another great thing about Newport, Todd Pronto and his team there, what they're doing at NEK-TV. But I do want to wrap up.
Okay.
And in so doing, I want to say thank you to all the candidates that are running, because these days people across the nation are really not stepping up to run. So thanks to all those people who are running with me.
Yep, I'll try and get you all on, by the way.
Yeah, and thank you to Mayor Manette for the many years that he served as mayor. And it's probably not easy, and it was a long run. You deserve a break, Mayor Manette, and thanks to the City Council, the Planning Commission, everybody that makes this town run. And I really hope that I can be part of that team. And I guess this is where I say Beth Barnes for mayor.
Beth Barnes for mayor. And if you're running for mayor or city council, please get in touch with the station. They'll give you my number. We'll talk. You can come and be a guest also. The more ideas, the better. And whatever you're having as an idea as a running candidate or as a consumer of the products that our government gives us, never be afraid to step up.
It's really great advice. Yeah, never.
And I'm really glad, Beth. Give me a hug.
Yeah, even if
Thank
you
you very
haven't
much.
done it before, there's always a first time.
And you're not afraid to learn.
I'm totally not afraid to learn. I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Thank you
And
so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching Life is Good with me, Heather Mckeown, and with Beth Barnes, one of our candidates. And I think Newport is a spectacular place with such potential. And yes, we have issues. Taxation, the infrastructure or understructure of the town, and bless their hearts. Too much. And we have to get people in there who will definitely work for the future of Newport, not just say, it's okay. Off we go. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.